Aloha and welcome back to my channel. I'm Marilyn, or Maya, the baby boomer booktuber. There was some confusion with Margaret Pinard, who I watch her lives. She wanted to know, she thought my name was Marilyn Maya, and actually I was born Marilyn, and I nicknamed myself Maya after Maya Angelou. So people who knew me before call me Marilyn, and people who know me now, or just met me, call me Maya. But you can call me anything you want. So that's the secret of my name. I just wanted to also tell you that Margaret Pinard is doing March of the Moderns, and I'm going to participate in a small way. I'm concentrating on March Mystery Madness this month, and but some of the Golden Age mysteries fall into that period. So if you can, please watch Margaret's channel. This video, however, is a book tag, and the prolific Shawn the Book Maniac tagged me. This is only my second tag, by the way, and it's the spoiler tag. And it's an original tag by Gunpowder Fiction and Plot with Nelle and Scott. And they're really good at coming up with original tags. And this one has been going around BookTube for quite a long time. And I'm sort of late to the party, but then I was just tagged. So without further ado, as a lot of booktubers say, let's get on to it. First question. What do you consider a spoiler? Someone else who did the tag said that a spoiler is something that spoils the book for you, and that it's different for every person. And I agree with that. For me, I'm a little more sensitive maybe, so I don't want to know what everybody is doing at every point in time. I don't want to know every plot point, and I don't want to know the ending. I think you can do a spoiler-free book review without those things. If you concentrate on little things that make a book interesting, and I think that's what I consider a spoiler. Too much information, that's a spoiler to me. Number two, does the genre you're reading impact what you consider to be a spoiler? And I say, of course. I read a lot of mysteries. I read widely. I didn't realize I read as widely until I saw Supposedly Fun, Greg's wonderful channel at Supposedly Fun, where he did a very spontaneous women's book for Women's Day yesterday, and I read a lot of the authors that he just turned on Google and started reading authors, and I had read a lot of them, and I was surprised. But then I've been here on planet Earth for a long time, so I guess that's the reason. So yes, the genre does impact. So I read a lot of mystery, and if you tell me the ending, but who does that? Who tells the ending of a mystery book? Okay, this is the person who did it. I mean, you have to be, as we say in Brooklyn, a complete moron to do that, and we don't have too many morons on BookTube, I hope. At least I haven't seen any yet. As other people said, if it's a book that everyone knows about, or most people know about, like Shakespeare, and a lot of people mention Romeo and Juliet. We kind of know what happens in the end, and other literary books. But this can be tricky because and this will come in later, I was recently spoiled with a classic that I didn't know. But basically, yeah, I think the genre does matter. And in mystery especially, you can spoil a book right away. All right, number three. All the best bits are in the trailer. Sometimes a synopsis can be too detailed. Do you research books prior to reading them, or do you go in blind? I think that there is a middle road here. I don't go in blind. I've got wonderful recommendations by from other booktubers that didn't let me go in blind, and I'm glad that they recommended these books. On the other hand, I don't go to reviews. I don't watch trailers at all, and I don't go to Goodreads and read people's comments, and I'll tell you why. If you go on Goodreads, pick any book, read the comments. Most people, they're not professional reviewers. We're not professional reviewers here on BookTube either. But they just say, this happened and that happened and the other thing happened. And yeah, it's going to spoil you. So don't do that if you are easily spoiled. So I say I go by recommendations and by hearing about a book in general terms. All right, now number 4. Sometimes the introduction of translator notes can spoil the ending, especially for classics. Has this ever happened to you? It has happened to me recently. I was reading Portrait of a Lady, and I think it was a Penguin classic, or anyway, it spoiled another book for me. And the good part is I don't remember the book that it spoiled, and I'm able to go into that other book not remembering, so that's good. But yes, I'm not going to read introductions anymore before I read the book. Number 5, name a time somebody spoiled a book for you, spoiled a novel for you. Recently on BookTube, a booktuber, told me about Marie Benedict's book, The Mystery of Mrs. Christie, and I can't say it spoiled the book for me because I had thought it was something and it's something else. Let's put it that way. I thought it was really going to tell me the mystery of what really happened, but since no one really knows, the time that she disappeared for a few days, and this is what the book is about. But I think it's more of a fictionalized account, and I already read a fictionalized account called Agatha, and it was a movie but with Dustin Hoffman, and I read the book as well. So I mean, that was pretty well fictionalized, and I don't think that someone can do it better, but I'm still ready to read it. But what I wanted to say was that a movie spoiled a book for me, and that was 84 Charing Cross Road. I saw the movie first, and it's with the wonderful Anne Bancroft, Anthony Hopkins, and Judi Dench. Can you choose a better cast for that? And I loved it. I loved it so much. And then recently, since I joined BookTube, I read the book. And I have to say, I couldn't enjoy it as much as I did the movie. This rarely happens to me, but so in that case, the movie spoiled the book. Okay, now, number 6, have you ever spoiled a novel for someone else? I have an interesting answer to this. I thought, no, I wouldn't do that. In fact, I even got a comment from a librarian on either Goodreads or Amazon saying that my review was so good because it didn't give spoilers. And then I thought, wait, some books are meant to be spoiled because they're so idiotic, culturally insensitive, and such a book that I read is, I shouldn't even talk about this book. I'll say it's called The White Messiah. And I spoiled it because I got so angry, and I spoiled it. I'll just read you a little bit of my review. Don't think I can finish this. This woman is très out of touch with reality. That's when I used French words for effect. I said, I brought this book by mistake to a long appointment, and I'm so angry. If I have to say one good thing about it to give it 1 star, the writing isn't bad, but I don't know if it's the translation, but I'll give it 1 star for that. Now to the anger part. This woman And this is, by the way, this is a German it's in the German and it's translated into English. Is so self-centered, so stubborn, and so man-centered and shallow it made me sick. She falls in love with a man for his looks alone. If you read the whole book, it is his looks alone that she thinks she loves, and maybe her imagination of what a Maasai warrior is, and anything at all about the culture. She calls love putting her life in danger numerous times, almost dying, put her child's life in danger, and not believing what anyone else tells her about culture. And slowly, and I mean slowly, finds out that what she's in love with is not the person she wants to be, but a man with his own culture who is being himself. Basically, so she's the white Maasai, which is an African warrior. I have a degree in intercultural communication, which maybe tells why I dislike this woman so much. I don't think you need a degree in intercultural communication to dislike this woman. She cries a million tears for herself, doesn't really want to know people except her Maasai, talks about them only as they have to do with him. This shows a self-absorbed dum-dum. Then in the end, she complains about her mistreatment by her Maasai when she should have known the man and his culture first before finding out in the worst possible way. Not saying that his culture is the worst possible way, but her finding out almost killed her. So I spoiled it again. I wanted to feel sorry for her, but couldn't. She cries so much for herself, it doesn't leave room for the reader to feel it. She takes risks and says, I don't do anything halfway. She's a piece of work. And I couldn't believe my eyes, what she goes through for love. Her daughter could have been in danger of female circumcision and being married off as a second wife if she couldn't get her out of the country, which she almost didn't. If she had read about the culture, she would have saved herself a lot of problems. But then she did sell 4 million copies of the book. Hated it. Okay, so sorry if I read too much of that review, but it's an example of how I spoiled a book. And some books have to be spoiled. For example, trigger warnings. And there's a book going around BookTube that talks about trigger warnings, and one book that has, the author wouldn't say what trigger warning except that it has every trigger warning in the book without saying what those trigger warnings are. And I appreciate trigger warnings. And I'm reading a couple of very dark thrillers that have trigger warnings about certain things. And I appreciated the booktubers who told me that they have trigger warnings. If you suffer from trauma or any kind of mental illness, you appreciate trigger warnings. So I don't think that those spoil a book for me. Number 7. If spoilers ruin novels, are there some authors or genres you can't reread? Some people said that they don't reread at all, and I'm a big rereader. So I think that if you wait a while, if you were spoiled and you wait a while, you won't remember what you were spoiled by. So that's my answer to that. And number 8, when reviewing, are you spoiler free? Does this limit your ability to discuss? I think that if you're a booktuber and you're going to spoil a book, please say so. And a lot of booktubers do. They say, spoiler coming up in 5 seconds or something like that. Or you can just say this is a spoiler-free review or this is a spoiler review. And I've had to press that button a few times so I wouldn't be spoiled, because I am a little sensitive about being spoiled. I don't know what they're going to say. So, of course, I want to make sure that I'm not spoiled. So I appreciate those warnings. About the ability to discuss, I don't think so, because this is something that I wanted to say about this whole tag. I think it's what's interesting, something interesting about the book that's more important than the plot or the, spoiling a book. I always pick out something that's not spoilery. For example, I don't like, if someone says, this is an unreliable narrator, I know right away 90% I'm not going to like that kind of thriller. For example, the book You by Carolyn Kepnes. Some people love this book. I hated it. I hated everything about it. Gone Girl, did not like it. Sorry. Many people love this book. I'm not saying that every unreliable narrator book is something I'm not going to read, but if someone says it, that helps me know that, okay, this is a trigger for me. Am I going to like this book or not? And so, yeah, it doesn't, if you do it right, in other words, if you're a good reviewer and you pick out something that doesn't spoil the plot, then I think there's no problem in discussing the book. So I've not had a problem so far. If I spoiled a book for you, please let me know in the comments. All right, now a shout out. Tell us about 5 channels you enjoy and then tag them. Now I read a few big booktubers and I think they have already done this tag or they're not interested. But I'm going to shout out some booktubers that either I just found out about through March Mystery Madness or that are just booktubers that I love. And the first one is a new one for me, and she's one of the hosts of March Mystery Madness, and her name is Lizzie Faye Loves Books. And I think she loves knitting as well, and she does a lot of cozies, and she talks about indigenous authors, and she does mysteries, and I don't know too much else about her except she's a really pleasant person. I just found out that she's a substitute teacher and that she works in Disney World, or Disneyland or Disney World, as a performer. So yay on her. I love her. The next one is also a host of March Mystery Madness, and her name is Janelle, Too Fond of Books, and she has a library of mysteries you would not believe, and she is excited about March Mystery Madness and gets me excited. So check out her channel. The next booktuber is brand new to me. I just found her through a live with Lizzie Faye, the booktuber I talked about before. Her name is Jane Catherine of Books. She calls herself Catherine, not Jane, but it's her booktube name is Jane Catherine on Books. And I saw her, as I said, in a live, and she seems to have the same, she's from Great Britain, and she seems to have the same taste in mysteries that I have. So check out her book. I'm going to be checking out her channel. And my next is not at all least. Her name is Dina, and her booktube channel is Books Yada Yada. And do I love this woman? Yes, I do. She comes from my part of the world, Northeast. She lives, I think, somewhere in, I'm trying to think if it's Connecticut. It might be Connecticut, but I think she's lived in New York as well. And I love, she has these wonderful outtakes of her bloopers in the beginning, and she talks a variety of books. She does like a lot of mystery, but she does a lot of other types of books. And she recently did a heavy metal video that my partner Jackson really liked. So check her out. And the next two, one is the Bookish Bryants that I just found out, Becky and Scott. And that's another Scott, I just realized. And they have a wonderful channel. We just did a read-along called Death by Dumpling by Vivian Chen that I really enjoyed and made me realize that I love cozies more than I thought I did. And they're just wonderful. They have a dog, and I'm trying to think of the name of the dog or the kind of dog. I was going to say an English Terrier, but that's not right. It's a Boston Terrier. Thank you, my partner, who reminded me. And they're just great, down-to-earth people, and I just love their channel. The next booktuber is, I talk about a lot, and her name is Lil from Lil's Vintage World, and she loves Agatha Christie and other mysteries, and she does also vintage clothing. And if you've watched my channel, I do like to dress up. I used to wear a Beatles cap during the 60s, and now I'm going back to the 50s and 40s and wearing hats. Not today, shawls and hats. I guess I miss dressing up. And anyway, Lil's Vintage World, she's a wonderful reviewer and does not spoil. And her last review was A Pocket Full of Rye by Agatha Christie. And what she said, and it's not a spoiler, is you have to watch out for the ending of this book. It's unusual, it's great, and it is. So that's not a spoiler. That's just getting me excited about the book. So thank you, Lil. And she's a wonderful booktuber when it comes to showing her books. They're all the opposite of the way I keep my books. I mean, she is so organized, and her shelves are so beautiful. Her clothing, her earrings, on point. I love you, Lil. Anyway, this is a great book, by the way, and I'm going to talk more about it next week when I do my first wrap-up of my Mystery Madness. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's just me talking. I love to talk. I love to read. So please, if you haven't already, subscribe. I'm almost at 500 subscribers, and I'm so excited. And I'm like 2 away. So if you're new, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in my next video, which will be soon, and it will be a wrap-up. So until then, and also thank you, Shawn, for tagging me. And aloha oi.